Hello there, this is Hardware Geek and I'm here with another video. Today I'll be reviewing the Asus ROG Strix 2022, which features the latest Ryzen 9 6900HX CPU and Nvidia RTX 3070Ti GPU. But first, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of my future videos. So let's get this review started. But first, consider its specifications. It includes an AMD Ryzen 9 6900HX CPU with 8 cores and 16 threads, an Nvidia RTX 3070Ti GPU with 8GB VRAM and 150W of TGP, a 15.6-inch QHD IPS display with 165Hz of refresh rate, 16GB X16 dual-channel RAM with a frequency of 4800 MHz and 1TB of M.2 NVMe SSD. Before we get into the details, we should point out that the housing comes in two variants. One is set aside for RTX 3050. It weighs 2.1 kilos and has a profile of 20.7 by 25.9mm. The other version is both thicker at 22.7 by 27.2mm and heavier at 2.3 kilos. This is required to make room for the beefier cooling and larger battery. Yes, the RTX 3050 has a 56Wh package, whereas the rest of the lineup has a 90Wh unit. Now that it's out of the way, let's get into the design. The lid is composed of aluminium and has a nice touch feel to it. While the body is made of plastic, it is quite durable. On the left side of the vent cover, there is another adjustable shroud. Yes, the back side of the notebook is lengthened as it was last year, taking a substantial chunk of heat away from the useful area of the base. Its lid opens with one hand and its hinges are sturdy enough to keep the display stable. The top and the side bezels are extremely tiny, with a noticeable chin at bottom. Again, there is no web camera above the matte display, so you will need to purchase one separately if you require one. Moving down to the bottom, we can see that the power button and a group of 5 buttons are separated from the keyboard. They provide volume control, mic muting, and performance shortcuts. The keyboard itself features translucent WSD buttons that looks great when coupled with RGB lights. You can select between 4 zone and a per key unit here. Because of the long key travel and clicky feedback, this board is really pleasant for gaming. However, it lacks a number pad area and its arrow keys are little undersized. However, the big touchpad and its glass surface provide an excellent user experience. Turning the laptop over down reveals a rather huge LED strip. It is compatible with Aura Sync, which is fantastic. In addition, there are 2 speaker cutouts and a ventilation grill. Hot air exhaust on the other hand occurs via the rear and sides via 4 vents. Memory capacity is limited to 32GB of DDR5 RAM running at 4800 MHz in dual channel mode. Storage is provided by 2 M.2 PCI Expo slots, both of which support Zen 4 drives. When it comes to the I/O, on the left side there are only 2 USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A ports. This is due to the fact that the majority of I/O is located on the back. There is a charging port, a 2.5 Gigabit LAN port, an HDMI 2.0B connector, and 2 USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-C ports. One of them supports power delivery, DisplayPort output, and G-Sync. In terms of cooling, the CPU and the GPU each have 3 heat pipes, one of which is shared. There is also 6th heat pipe dedicated to the graphic memory and VRMs. Finally, 2 heat pipes dissipate the heat from the 4 heat sinks. Fortunately, the CPU uses a liquid metal thermal compound that conducts the heat substantially better than the traditional thermal paste. It boasts a QHD resolution, good viewing angles, and a high contrast ratio. What's more, it covers 99% of sRGB and 100% of DCI-P3 color gamut. However, this is primarily a gaming display, and 165Hz refresh rate is matched with an extremely rapid pixel response time. For those who want to go extra mile, the display supports HDR and does not use PWM to control brightness. Now we do the battery test with Windows Better Performance setting enabled, the screen brightness adjusted to 120 nits, and all other programs except the one we are evaluating the notebook with switched off. The 90Wh battery in this laptop lasts 11 hours and 3 minutes of web browsing and 8 hours and 13 minutes of video playback. This device is equipped with the brand new Ryzen 9 6900HX CPU, which is based on the 6nm fabrication and the Zen 3 Plus architecture. The inclusion of an RDNA2I GPU is the most significant modification from the previous iteration. This device also has a mux switch, so you can quickly disable AMD Optimus. For those who are unfamiliar with the mux, so let me tell you. A mux switch enabled or disabled the inbuilt graphics. With AMD Optimus turned off, the integrated graphics are no longer available because the screen is now directly connected to the powerful GPU. Now we will look at some CPU benchmarks, and we will start with the Cinebench R20, where we can see that the results aren't what we expected for the newer 6000 series, with only a 4% and 10% improvement in multi-core and single-core results respectively, whereas Intel shows a significant improvement in these benchmarks when compared to the previous generations. Cinebench R23 produces similar results in single-core and multi-core benchmarks. Following that, we have the CPU Z benchmark, which tests the performance of CPU threads. We receive the same kind of results this time, with the 12700H topping the table, followed by the 6900HX. We can see that there is significant difference in multi-thread score when comparing the 6900HX to 12700H, but not in single-threaded workload. Now, we will look at several Adobe applications that have been tested with the Puget system. We have a minor update to the previous generation, which is nothing to laugh about, but in the case of 12700H, it's a significant improvement from competing with this 5700H to leaving the 6900HX in the dust. The RTX 3070Ti in this edition has a 150 watt of TGP with dynamic boost enabled and 8 GB of VRAM. Now, we will look at some gaming benchmarks, and here are the results. Transitioning to laptop thermals, so during a stress test with CPU and GPU at maximum performance and fan in turbo mode, the CPU temperature reached 84 degrees Celsius and GPU temperature reached 71 degrees. It's encouraging to see that the Asus didn't just stick a new CPU inside an old laptop. Instead, Wi-Fi 6 is now available for more robust wireless connection, and the Ethernet connector offers 2.5 gigabits rate. Furthermore, the laptop still has a long battery life. The adaptive sync technology is a significant contributor to this. It means that it runs at 60 Hz when high speed are not required and boosts to maximum 165 Hz refresh rate when necessary. The mux switch is another important feature. Most laptops lack one, even if they include a discrete GPU. Another enhancement for this year's Strix G15 is the addition of a second USB Type-C 3.2 Gen 2 connection, as well as switch to the Gen 4 SSDs for two M.2 PCI X4 slots on the inside. This, along with the optional 100 watt power brick, makes the ROG Strix G15 an excellent choice for mobile gamers. And that's it for the video. Now, if you want to buy this laptop or any other model of it, the finest buy links may be found in the description. Check them out below. Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video and remember to subscribe to the channel. We will see you again soon. Goodbye until then.